Kia ora koutou, welcome to another Cahoots tool training video. This one is about orbital sanders. This is going to be a really quick video. These are very approachable, very safe tools. But as always, this is not intended to be full training. This is intended to be in conjunction with training in the Cahoots Workshop, and this can be used as a refresher. The orbital sanders we have come in three types. We have a finishing sander with a rectangular platen. We have one of these triangular sanders, sometimes called a mouse sander, great for getting into corners. And we have this circular random orbital sander. This is the most powerful of the sanders. This removes the most material, with this one being useful for getting into tight spaces, and this one being really good for finishing. Sanders are for sanding. They remove material from wood, or they can remove paint. We can sand things like the 3D prints as well, and they're often used for surface prep, for painting, or between painting coats. They can smooth off cut edges and remove torn out fibers. But there are a couple of things to note. They can remove too much material. Hand sanding might be better. It's very easy to knock a nice defined corner off a surface when you're sanding it with one of these more aggressive sanders. They're also not really suitable for very small pieces of work, because very small pieces you can't securely hold, and so you can't work on them with these sanders. Let's have a quick think about the hazards that are involved. Dust is the biggest hazard. Obviously, eye protection, it can get in your eyes. Respiratory protection, you can breathe it in. And dust extraction. All of these have ports for our dust extraction systems. They are mandatory, use them. The sander, together with the dust collector, can be quite loud, so hearing protection as well, please. They can generate a lot of heat. There's a lot of friction between the sandpaper and the surface that you are working on, so be aware of that. Coming into contact with a piece of sandpaper on the edge of one of these discs can potentially cut fingers, so watch your finger placement. Finally, one really important aspect is the potential for toxic dust. Depending on what you're sanding. If you're sanding wood, then that dust can be an irritant. It can definitely cause issue to your lungs if you breathe it in, but it isn't fundamentally toxic. If you sand something like MDF, which has some formaldehyde precursors in it, then you can produce formaldehyde in your lungs when you breathe them in. Formaldehyde is a carcinogen, and it's a fundamentally not very nice chemical. So some things can produce toxic dust inherently. Another example would be lead paint. You might have an old piece of fence timber that's really nice matai, but sanding off that old lead paint can be really hazardous. Be much better off scraping that paint off in large pieces than sanding it. And when it is necessary to sand one of these really hazardous materials, then we need to be extra cautious about respiratory protection, dust collection, and clean up afterwards. To facilitate dust collection, there are these holes in the sandpaper on the bottom of this sander. This hasn't got any sandpaper on currently, but it does have these holes. That is where the airflow goes. And similarly, this sander has these holes as well. These are vital for dust collection, for clearing the dust from where you're working, taking it out of the extractor port and into the dust collector. That means that when you put sandpaper on a sander like this, you carefully line those holes up, so that now the air can go through these holes and out of the extractor. Dust extraction doesn't just collect that hazardous dust, but it also improves the efficiency of the sanding, stops the paper from getting clogged and loaded, and prolongs the life of the paper and results in a better sanding job. Other things to be aware of are vibration injury. These sanders cause a lot of vibration, and that vibration over time can give vibration syndrome in your arm. If you feel any tingling in your fingers, any numbness, stop sanding. Avoid using them for excessively long periods of time. Wear gloves, that can help soften the vibrations, and be aware of how you're holding the tool, moving your body, changing position. And those vibrations and the movement of these sanders can cause the sander to wander off away from you. So you do need to be holding it. Don't turn it on and then release it. It can move around on its own. And again, because of the motion, they can fling small bits of material around. So secure your workpiece, either a large workpiece that won't move anyway, or you can use clamps, or you can back your workpiece into another clamped piece. I'll show you what that might look like. So say I need to work on this piece here. To create some security, I can clamp this piece in place, and I now have a secure direction to push against to hold this timber in place. Equally, I could clamp this timber directly, being wary of damaging the surface that I'm trying to prepare, and being wary that I'm going to have to move the clamp so I can sand the whole surface. I'm going to get one of the dust collectors, I'm going to hook up the sander, I'm going to give you a quick demo. This is the perfect time to use one of the dust collectors that has the auto feature, so that when I run the sander, the dust collector comes on. When I stop sanding, it goes off. These vacuum hoses have our own adapter on the end. These push onto the dust collector port here, they twist, and now it is locked on and it can spin. This is ready to go. And now I'm ready to go as well. And so there are many different sanding techniques, there are many different sandpapers. Make sure the paper is appropriate for your use. You can start off with an aggressive paper like a 40 grit, and then you can work your way up through the grits to get a really smooth finish, ready for painting, ready for varnishing, whatever that might be. Again, the biggest hazard is this dust. This material is a composite material. That means this has glues and things in it. This dust is not friendly. The dust extraction is very good. We get very little dust with the dust extraction, but a dust mask is absolutely necessary as well. That's Orbital Sanders. Come down here, make something cool.